I wanted to clear something up about something I've been seeing online, and it's this glorification of the dark empath. For those of you who don't know what an empath is, it's people who feel deeply, people who are very empathetic, who can empathize with others easily. A lot of times this ability is developed out of survival, out of a very traumatizing and often narcissistically abusive social environment. And as children, this ability to empathize and be in tune with other people's emotions become a primary intelligence for our survival. But there's this glorification as far as the dark empath, saying it's the most powerful empath, blah, blah, blah. For those of you who don't know, the dark empath, it's basically a dark triad that is empathetic. So if you don't know what a dark triad is, it's a category of personality traits that are extremely harmful, destructive, dysfunctional, and parasitic. Okay, so get that in mind. The dark triad, which had later been turned to the dark tetrad, is narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism, which is a very calculated, intentionally manipulative type of personality, and they often blend together. The dark tetrad, though, later they added sadism, which is a trait that enjoys seeing other people suffer, enjoys harming people, gets off on harming other people. So the dark triad, they've infected pretty much everyone, obviously to different degrees. If you've been abused by someone with these traits or a dark triad, basically raped or mentally, emotionally abused, psychologically abused, messed with, gaslit, and just totally brainwashed into enabling abuse and all that kind of stuff, the only way we survive that as children is to adopt these dark triad traits. So dark empaths are empaths that have not learned to unlearn those behavior patterns. And why they say it's the most powerful empath, blah, 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 is because the dark empath can play the dark triad's game. But it doesn't mean that they are functional or healthy in relationship. That just means they are perpetuating and entangling with the same dysfunction. So there is this myth that narcissists attract empaths, and one person is the narcissist, one person is the empath, but that's bullshit. A lot of times there's also the idea that narcissists attract codependents and codependents attract narcissists. So in that instance, it would infer that empaths are usually codependents. But the truth is, narcissism and codependency are both dysfunctional, insecure styles of relating, and they're both two sides of the same coin. Okay, so whether someone is an empath and they have dark triad traits only means that they are an empathic person that has become so corrupted by the ways of the dark triad, and they've not yet learned to make the unconscious conscious, unlearn the ways of this abusive, toxic, dysfunctional behavior, and fully embrace the purity of their empathic gift and understanding how to create boundaries with these dark triad personalities and traits. So the dark empath is really an empath that is not truly healed yet. It's an empath that has lost its way, lost his or her way. The dark empath is an empath that has lost his or her way. When an empath integrates their shadow and can face all the different dark parts of themselves, including the dark triad parts that they've learned to survive in these dark triad environments, then the empath can become conscious of these traits and not perpetuate it in relationship. but instead learn how to navigate it a different way through conscious love, to respect, honor, care, boundaries, and discernment, not even entangling with the dark triad personalities and not taking on the projections of the narcissist. So a person who is narcissistic is often also codependent in certain instances and dynamics. Sometimes there are moments in these narcissistic codependent dynamics where one person will be portraying more of the narcissistic type of personality traits, and then other times it'll portray more of the codependency. So in order to truly heal from this, it requires integrating the shadow, becoming conscious of the unconscious, and also learning how to set these boundaries with yourself and learn how to live with respect, honor, and care. It's basically rewriting your entire inner story, your inner narrative, from shame, inadequacy, guilt, resentment, into a way of honoring, caring, respecting, and loving oneself. And that's a long process. That's what I call the stage of awakening love. So do not be mistaken, or do not be fooled by these people who, because I recently just saw a video of a woman who claims to be an empath, and yes, I don't deny that she is empathic, but she said, you know, when it's time to cut off or break up from a narcissistic relationship, she says she doesn't grieve at all. She says she doesn't cry at all, which tells me she's not actually in tune with her heart. Empathic people are extremely in tune with their heart, and there is an embracing of grieving. Grief is a very natural emotion that we are supposed to feel. And there's a way where we can be completely smothered and overwhelmed and collapsed by grief, which is not healthy. And also the other spectrum, the other narcissistic type or psychopathic aspect of that is to suppress all the grief and not grieve at all. When you understand like how to truly like navigate this world in a healthy way, you'll find that there's a Goldilocks zone. There's a threshold of which all life perpetuates itself. Exactly how Earth is situated in a Goldilocks zone between being too cold in our solar system or being too hot. And where Earth is, it's in a Goldilocks zone where all life can perpetuate. Unfortunately, that also includes Dark Triad life, invasive lives. But the way you navigate even healthy relationships and feeling and embracing our ability to feel other people, to be empathic, it requires understanding this Goldilocks zone. And that's what Soul Symphonics is all about. It's so difficult because this world is so lost in extremes, and most people's map for life does not account for navigating out of hell realms. I see this with fitness coaching, and it's all being built off of such a limited consciousness that doesn't account for rehabilitating from the worst case scenarios. So even understanding relationships, understanding how to get our social terrain, our relationships in harmony and order, it requires understanding that not feeling at all is not healthy. And at the same time, feeling everything and having no boundaries and taking on everyone's projections as if it's your own, to where you collapse and you overwhelm, and that becomes your negative self-talk, that's not healthy at all. Soul Symphonics is a map that accounts for so many hell realms because I built it off of navigating out of so many hell realms and healing naturally. Healing fibromyalgia, anxiety attacks, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, insecure attachment in general, serious gut issues, depression, suicidal thoughts, addiction. And the map I created with Soul Symphonics is built off of that. And not only that, it happens to coincide with so many great thinkers, metaphysicists, philosophers, psychologists, shamans, functional medicine doctors. And it really gets you into this place where you understand the magic of how to regenerate, how to heal. And it goes back to understanding that there's a Goldilocks zone for each of your terrains, your 6 core terrains of how we experience the law of one. There is a Goldilocks zone for each and every one of them, and think of them like the strings of a guitar. Each string of the guitar can be tightened too much or it can be too loose, and either way it won't resonate how it's supposed to. It won't sing the song that the guitar is supposed to sing. It won't sing the song that the soul is supposed to sing. So there's just so much that's going around on the internet and on social media in general. Like, it really, all it takes is you to just have a nice body, and then you pretty much can tell anyone anything, even with such a limited consciousness, and people are flocking to it, believing it, but they're not accounting for all these different scenarios. So Soul Symphonics is built on principle, which is why it works in so many different aspects and situations, because it's principle. It's not based on circumstance. It's principle that can be applied to a variety of circumstances. So I just wanted to clear that up. Don't be proud of being a dark empath, because that just means that you are perpetuating the dysfunctional, toxic behavioral pattern of psychopathy, narcissism. I include codependency with it because it's still a part of the same coin, insecure attachment, and it's a different type of manipulation. It still includes, you're still perpetuating Machiavellianism. So be aware of this, okay? I really want you to understand this, because when you understand this, trust me, you're gonna navigate through this world like no one else. You're gonna see the pitfalls, you're gonna see the traps, and you're gonna avoid the extremes where you cannot find your center. Everyone who is stuck in an extreme has lost their center. And I'll leave it at that.